everyone, and welcome to Be My Guest with me, Mary Honan, on Lir Media TV, supporting the Samaritans, Limerick and Tipperary. And look who I have here. I have Jimmy Smith, in case people don't recognise him behind the rock star look. I have Jimmy Smith from Rincorrie in Kerry on the air with me. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Mary. How are you? As I told you before, you look very glamorous. Since you got your hair cut and the lockdown seemed to have suited you, and you look great.
Well, I've lost about over 2 stone because I went vegetarian 2 years ago, almost 2 years now. I find it hard to give up meat. I'm pescatarian, so I just eat meat and fish and veg, or fish, veg and potatoes. Or
Well, you couldn't eat better than fish.
Yeah, I love fish.
I eat fish 4 days a week.
Do you? Yeah,
I
eat it. I eat it every day, 7 days.
Yeah,
fish
is
I just
good for you.
Yeah, I love fish, but I'm trying to, I suppose, like your grandson is vegan.
Vegan, yeah.
And you were saying to me, he says he doesn't eat anything with a face. That's the reason I gave up meat, is I don't want faces looking at me.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I know he won't eat anything with a face. Even an egg, he won't eat an egg.
Yeah, he's really vegan.
Yes.
Vegans don't drink milk or anything, and anything that has come from a cow or an animal, it's pretty strict, and it's very hard when you go out to eat, trying to get food when you're either vegan or pescatarian, or I certainly hear in Ireland everything is fried, you know, and you're trying to tell them, no, can you just grill or anything? But Jimmy Smith.
Yes.
Oh God, are you an icon in Irish dancing? I don't think there's anybody in Irish dancing that doesn't know Jimmy Smith. What's it like being that famous, Jimmy?
Oh,
Can you go down the street without people recognizing you?
I never felt famous, I can assure you.
Or infamous?
No. Well, Irish dancing was my life, really, you know, since I was a child. And I would never have gone to Irish dancing, only my mother got rid of me out of the way. Take him away with you to my sister, my older sister, you know. Take him away with you and give me an hour's break from him. I was a sort of an aggravated, I was a bitter little young fella, I suppose, she said. And take him away with you. But I found my niche, my niche, you know, when I went to dancing, and the teacher, Irene Gould, taught me, and she would have learned from Phil Cahill, and Phil Cahill would have learned from Jeremiah Molyneux.
Jeremiah, yeah.
Jeremiah, the famous dancing master.
Yeah. Beautiful steps, though, from Jeremiah, and you have all of them, Jimmy.
I have all of them, yeah.
Do you know? I mean,
yeah, and if anybody wants to see them, you can see them on VIM.
Put them up. We'll put them up here. We'll put them up on YouTube, on this.
You can get them on Vimeo, is it?
Vimeo.
VIMCO.
Yeah. Vimeo.
You can get them on that, you know, and I have all these steps. Because I used to go around then when I maybe 18. Catherine Foley was doing her doctorate in London. She was doing her doctorate in London. I was about 18, and she came.
Catherine Foley in the University of Limerick.
At the University of Limerick, yeah. And she was doing her doctorate in London, and she was assigned to investigate the North Kerry style of dance. And I went around with her anyhow, and she was taping all the people that Molyneux would have taught, the likes of John McCarthy and Jory Nolan and Paddy White, and all of it was mostly men.
Yes, it would have been. They were mostly the masters, weren't they? They went visiting villages after village, teaching Irish dancing.
Yeah. But it was mostly men, and she was videoing them, and I got to know all of them then that time, you know, and Phil Cahill and all of them, and they were absolutely beautiful dancers.
Yeah.
it was, and of course, being 18, I was 18. I wanted to know what they were doing in Dublin. I wanted to know what they were doing in Limerick, and because we were never exposed to what they were doing elsewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that time, I suppose, people didn't have cars and you didn't travel. And I mean, most of the dance that was learned in Dublin came from Cork, because it was easier to go to Cork than it was to come to Kerry.
Yeah.
You know,
you know what Cork people say about Kerry? The only thing good about Kerry is the road to Cork.
I know the cheek of them. The cheek of them, even though I have loads of friends in Cork now.
Maureen Farrelly would probably laugh now when she hears that, or Brenda Springer.
Yeah, but I'm always joking with Maureen over the All Ireland and over the Munster Championships in football, But it's
oh yeah, it must be terrible between you and Maureen during an All Ireland when Kerry are playing Cork.
But it is. I'm always sending her jokes, placarding her about the Cork crowd, They couldn't see the ball. They couldn't kick a ball.
Here, Jimmy, explain to people why you're wearing the shades today.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing the shades because I had an operation on Wednesday, and my eye is very bloodshot. It's still very bloodshot. I had cataracts, and I had to get an operation. Now, if anyone tells me no, before the operation I was told that there was no problem, that you go in and it's like just getting a tooth out. Well, I'm afraid no. Don't expect it to be that easy. It's not. It's not that easy. So the eyes, the eyes, your eyes are very sensitive. It's a very sensitive part of your body, and the eyes bloodshot. But I'm good today now. It's very good today. Yesterday, no, it was very sore, but I'm good today. Thank God.
So we got you on a good day, Jimmy.
Yeah. So every day now to be getting a bit better, hopefully, putting drops into the eye and that,
So your eyes are going to be sharper now, and you're going to be really on point when looking at all the falls.
Hopefully, even though probably some people will tell me my adjudicating, I must be blind.
They'll always say that. I mean, you can just do your best. Right, you can just you can just be honest.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
That's all you can do. Do your best and look at every child as if they were your own.
Exactly, yeah, and give every child time. Look at every child,
Yeah.
I think it's time for reflection as well. I think it's time that the Commission now and teachers on a whole to reflect on where do we go from here,
Where would you like to see it go?
Well, what I would like to see now, I would love to see, even though a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, I'd say, I would love to see, you see, when you go to the world now, even though we didn't have a world this year, it's more like a fashion show than it is about the dance. And the costumes, the price of the costumes, and I know everything has to progress, but I just feel with the fake tan and the makeup and the hair and the whole lot, it's gone so expensive. I just think a plain, simple costume for every child, and let the dance show itself off.
Yes, and I agree. I agree with you in a lot of respects, but I'm just thinking, there's the child with hair like mine that you could try and beat curls into, and 2 minutes later it's gone straight. And then you have another child gifted with a beautiful head of hair, and you're on stage. And I do think that the wigs and everything give a sense of equality to children on stage. After that, I'm not sure whether the costumes need to be as over the top or as extravagant as they are. But then there are some children, a plain, simple dress will not suit. So it's to try and find something that suits each child, but doesn't take from their dancing. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, well, you're not judging costumes, and you're not judging hairstyles, and you're not judging how much fake tan. I mean, you're supposed to be judging the dance.
And you're dead right. But there is the argument that the costume and the makeup and the hair all adds to the presentation on the stage. But as I was saying to Terry the other day and Philip, you have this magnificent child coming out on stage. Just look, I mean, she looks absolutely stunning, or he does, and in the costume, and you're praying to God that the child can dance, and you're saying, please let you be as good as you are, as you look on stage. And then often they are, but there are times when you think, oh God, I thought you were going to, you look, they look, and then you could have a child in a simple costume, as you said, walk out and everything's right.
Yes, yeah, it's about our culture, and it's about our dance, really. It's not a fashion show. It's not supposed to be a fashion show. And I think it's time now to reflect on the dance. I mean, you get a musician sits down there, and the music can pour out to them, and it's not about the way they look, it's about the music. So it should be the same about the dance.
Do you like the fact that the boys now, for the most part, you don't ever see kilts anymore? Do you think that simplifying the look with the trousers has allowed you to actually see the male dancer dancing?
Oh, yes, yeah.
To see them dancing, or do you think that they were better with kilts? Did you see more
Oh
of?
no, they're way better with dances. Much better, much nicer with the pants on than the kilt. I never liked the kilt.
Didn't you?
No, I
I think
never liked
I,
it.
I think I think certain people wearing the kilt, a certain build, is nice too. A, a strong dancer in a kilt, you can see the legs, you can see the feet. But I also like the trousers on men. What
Yeah,
has made you, I suppose, Jimmy? What has made you so successful with boys? I mean, I interviewed David Gainey, and you haven't heard the interview because you're a Luddite when it comes to Facebook. Apparently, you don't go on Facebook that much. You haven't even a proper photograph of yourself on Facebook on your own. I had to
right.
crawl through hours looking for the
Yeah.
photos I got.
Well,
But David Gainey said that he'd give anything to do a compilation with you.
oh, I'd love it. I'd love that. I must get on to him about that.
He
Yeah,
said to me, he said, the one person I'd love to do a compilation with would be Jimmy.
yeah. I went on Facebook now the other night, and I saw David doing different pieces, on Facebook, and I was saying to myself, David, you're after going back to the tradition, and it was a lot of the things he was doing with his feet, I would have done.
That's what I see in David. David is utterly traditional in his heart and in his style.
Yeah,
Even when he went on Britain's Got Talent and he danced to Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I thought, what insanity has taken over David? But he explained that they pushed him to do that. He
yeah,
wanted to do. He said, Mary, I love Irish dance and I love Irish music. I wanted to do Irish music, and they forced Somewhere Over the Rainbow on it, with no 4/4 time, 6/8 time, or 2/4 time beating it at all for David to dance.
yeah.
But
Well,
your style oozes in him, Jimmy.
well, I tell you now, between David and John Fitzgerald and Patrick O'Mahony,
Yeah,
I think I sort of, well, I hope I did anyhow, I instilled a love for Irish dancing, and that in them, that they want to continue and keep dancing. And even though, I mean, David told me, Jimmy, I will never be a teacher.
no, he
I, you
said that
know,
to me.
I will never be a teacher, he says, because it's too hard. Well, I said, I said, well, when you catch a child by the hand and start showing them the 1, 2, 3s, I said, that's the donkey work. And once you get with the 1, 2, 3s, if they have the talent, well, you can almost see the talent. I catch their hand and I go,
you can see you walking into a room.
yes, exactly, yeah. You know dancing when you look at the nip and they have the step in their leg. You know,
Yes.
you just know.
Yes, you do. The minute they walk in and you see the 2 turned out feet
And the
good carriage.
That's right. Yeah.
And the innate sense of timing and rhythm, you think, God.
Yeah.
But David, I said to David, you know, you are a teacher. And he said, I'm not. And I said, the minute you go on stage, I said, the amount that you're teaching youngsters who are watching you about dedication, determination, and hard work, you're teaching them, even though you don't consider yourself a teacher. I said, you know, there's different levels of being a teacher. Some are like us that take them from beginners up, you know, and you hope to, and you bring them to the level you've brought them. And then there's others that teach by actually physically doing in a performance. Do you know?
Well, I've had a lot of success, all right, Mary. I've 10 world titles, but I'll tell you, it was never about the winning. It was never about winning for me. It was about the dance. It was about the love of the dance. All right, it was lovely to win, but it was never about winning. Never. And it's like that even today. I get a great kick out of showing a child how to do the 1, 2, 3s, and to see them then when they can do it to music, to see the smile on their face, and they're up off the ground and they're doing their 1, 2, 3s, and the joy that you see in their face. That's the kick I get out of it.
When was that photograph taken?
That was taken. You see, I was a member of the National Folk Theatre, and that was out in a place called Fenwick. That was a training place, training attached cottage outside in Fenwick. Now,
you're a hunk in it, Jimmy.
Sorry?
You're a hunk in it.
Oh, I was lovely. Oh, I was a lovely little boy at that time.
How long ago was that?
I was lovely that time.
Still are, Jimmy Smith. You're still lovely.
I tell you now, I before I got this operation, I every time I looked in the mirror, I could only see a 25-year-old looking. Now I was about 20, maybe 23, 25 there. I don't know, but anytime I look in the mirror, I could ever only see a 25-year-old looking out at me. I got the operation done, and I looked at the mirror last night, and I saw this old man looking out at me. I nearly died. I said, "Oh no, give me back my cataracts." Oh God, I nearly passed out with the fright of it.
There's an advantage to being blind.
Oh, feck it. Excuse my French. I nearly died. But I mean, I could never see myself only as I am in that photograph. I see that photograph up there, my teaching and note. But you see, I was part of the National Folk Theatre. I worked with Father Patty Herman for over 30 years, and I'm still working with him. I was out with him a couple of last week. I was out before.
When you were 24 last week. Last week when you were 24.
When I was 25.
25.
Right. I was out with him last week when I was 25, because he's doing sort of an archives on Sheamus and stories and where we went and what we did and all of that, you know. We were in America. We were in America in '79. We were in the Palace Theatre on Broadway, and we did a show over there, and we were there for a week, and it could have been booked out for 12 months. The people were crying out, looking for tickets, and they wanted us to stay on, but we all had families at home, so we had to come home. And that was before River Dance.
Yeah.
So
trailblazers even then.
Huh?
You were trailblazing even then.
Yeah. So we went to Australia, and we went to Canada, and we went all over the world really. And we performed for the Pope. But we had a great time in Shamesy, and it was about the music, and it was about dance, and it was about the way people lived in North Kerry and how they entertained themselves. The show, that's what the show was about, and it was about, we'll say, Father Pat, which the man was an absolute genius to work with. And I mean, he worked very hard, and he expected everybody else to work as hard as him. But you didn't mind, because you knew what you got.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be good at the end of the day, But it was.
I'm still thinking of you getting your eyesight back.
Yeah, give me the cataracts back.
But carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. I had a great, and there was bad times in my life, but the dancing got me through it.
Yeah. It's the same for me. I had the most horrendous times, and if it hadn't been for Irish dancing, I probably wouldn't be here. Irish dancing's been my life, much more than people actually realize. It's been the only thing that's actually, it's been there during the worst of times, and it's been there for the best of times, and I love everyone in dancing, because I see the hard work and dedication that people put in to trying to succeed and to try and get their students to succeed, and none greater than you, Jimmy. I mean, you have had the most amazing, particularly male dancers, it has to be said. The style, as you said, the determination to keep going beyond competition.
Beyond competition. It's not all about competition. It's about the dance, and the winning is I suppose competition is a spice of life.
Yeah.
But it's not about the winning. It's about the dance. For me.
Take me back, Jimmy, to the young Jimmy Smith. You were from Tralee always, were you?
I was from Tralee always, yeah. And Irene brought us there was about 4 fishes in the whole year. And yeah. And there was one in Ballyhike, and there was one in Feenit, and in Feenit, it was very funny in Feenit, because it was up in the back of a lorry out in the pier. In Feenit, and
no health and safety there, Jimmy.
Huh?
No health and safety there.
Oh God, no. I mean, if there was a gale of wind, you were inside the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. Which, I remember the judge, and he was that time you write down their name, and whoever it was, anyone dancing, and their name would be taken down anyhow, and he had papers in front of him, and there was a gale of wind came anyhow, and all the papers wound up inside in the Atlantic Ocean, and and I mean, it was pot luck. If you were called out for a medal, you were very lucky, and there was only first, second, and third.
Right, nowadays everyone gets a medal.
Everyone gets a medal now.
In the reel and the light jig beginners.
That's right, yeah.
And tuss, bun tuss.
And they're coming away with 7 and 8 medals and 6 or 7 trophies, in every fish. For God's sake, they must be sick of looking at trophies all over the house,
Dust collectors, my mother used to call them.
What?
My
Dust
mother used to call
collectors.
my trophies dust collectors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know, but we had great times. We had lovely times
And
in that church.
who was your teacher? Did you say?
Iron Gold,
Very good.
Iron Gold. She was a beautiful dancer. She retired when she was 40. I will never retire. I'll die in harness. Because if I didn't have, no, I've been very lonesome without the kids for the last, since the lockdown. But if I didn't have children in front of me and I showing them what to do or what not to do, or explaining how you cross your feet and go up on your toes and do a batter. We call them batters in Kerry.
Treadles now.
I don't know what you call them. They like
Well, I wouldn't call them batters. I would have been
Would you?
brought up in O'Rourke's to call them batter, 1, batter 2, batter 3, batter 4.
Yeah.
Now it's, and I think Maureen Farrelly calls them batters in Cork. I think they're generally now being called trebles, treble 1, treble 2, treble 3, treble 4.
Yes, yeah. But I still call them batters. Batter 1, batter 2, batter 3, batter 4. I still call them batters. But when I went to Philadelphia, done a workshop there a year ago, many years ago now, and if Eileen and Eileen Henry, and Colleen, if you see this now, I just want to say hello to you, over all my friends in America. You know, if you do happen to come across this,
they will, because I've tagged them on it.
Yeah, they always call the batters DDoS.
DDoS.
No, 1 DDoS, 2 DDoS, 3 DDoS, 4 DDoS.
DDoS.
So I had to change my batter 1. Yeah. I had to call him DDoS.
Do you know what I do now, Jimmy? Is I go by numbers 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I use numbers as well. Yeah,
because it shows them the 3 beats.
That's right.
Sometimes they can forget about the 3rd beat, the back leg. So it's
that's right.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, up, back.
Yeah.
Hop up. It's just so that they can get the idea of that 3rd beat that's in there often.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
But Honor told a very funny story, and I actually told it to I think it was Jimmy Smith, or sorry, to Terry Phillip. I think it was the day I told it to, about the time that you went up on stage in Dublin to dance in honor with your teacher.
Yeah, well, I'd say that was the first time we were on the outside. We said, of course, we had to start big at the All Ireland. I think it was the All Irelanders. It was on the Mansion House, anyhow. But I remember we went up by car. No, we were.
I'm laughing because I know the end of it.
We had no television. We had no televisions in Kerry at that stage, and we went up by car anyhow. And we thought inside, when we were inside in the car, we thought that the aerials, television aerials, we thought they were telegraph poles. We had never seen an aerial, a television aerial, up off the roof.
Look how far Kerry people have come. They've got 2 ministers in government, and the whole west of Ireland has none.
Yeah, but we went up anyhow. No, we'd never seen a kick.
Seen a what?
In our lives, a kick, an up kick.
Oh yeah.
You know, we had never seen one of them. And I was up on the stage I went up with Dan Armstrong was alongside me, and I had.
I didn't know it was Dan Armstrong.
I know I didn't know Dan Armstrong. I didn't know anybody.
I didn't know it was Dan Armstrong you were talking about.
It was Dan Armstrong, mind you. And he started off with this kick up in there, and I thought he was getting a fit. And I said, "Oh Jesus, what's wrong with you, man?" Because all our dancing was on the ground, you know. And I said, "Oh, this fella's getting a fit or something." No, and I stopped and I looked at him to see if he was all right. Sure, he took off. He took off like a bullet, And there I was standing on the stage. I will never forget. I got such a shock. Dan, don't take any notes of this now if you're looking at it. But I'd say he doesn't remember that at all. I suppose he was saying
We danced in the same age group, so as my cousin Brendan Gavin, because Brendan was in Dan Armstrong's age group. Brendan was O'Rourke's.
Yeah, they're way older than me. I'd say it was a double. I don't know. I'd say they were older than me.
They weren't. They were Dan Armstrong's age.
I'm only 25. Like, that's all I am.
Pre-cataract surgery.
Yeah.
But Honor killed you, didn't she?
Huh?
Honor, she nearly killed you over it.
Yeah. Why did you stop? I said I thought your man was getting a fit. That's right, yeah.
Did you get a 0 for that?
Huh?
You got a 0 for that dance, so.
Oh, I got a 0. Well, I don't know if there any zeros that time. I just wasn't counted anyhow. But it didn't matter. We learned from there, but we had to start at the top, you know.
Oh, stop.
We started we went right to the top and stayed there. I don't think.
And stay there. You stayed.
Yeah, but it was we had some great times. We had some great times in the Irish dance.
What was your funniest? What was the thing that the funniest memory you have?
I suppose. Well, there's so many of them. For God's sake, I mean, I met so many friends through dance. You know, the O'Rourke's. I was great friends with Maureen Farley and yeah, there was loads of people. The Kyles in America, a lot of the teachers in America, and that probably would know me, and it's just lovely to see friendly faces. And I miss that. I miss the world now, and it must be very hard for teachers. You know, they've lost everything.
Everything.
They've lost.
How have
everything.
How have you adjusted to COVID-19 lockdown? Have you used? I'm saying this now, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this to you, Jimmy. But have you used Zoom to teach Irish dancing?
No, I haven't used Zoom because I wouldn't know how to use it anyhow.
The words were coming out of my mouth, and I was saying, "Why, Mary? Why?"
Yeah, no, I haven't used Zoom. And even looking, you know, I mean, can you imagine it? Can you imagine Zoom? You're zooming in there, and you're looking at a child, and you're saying, "Would you ever go up on your toes? Would you ever lift those? Will you kick it up in the back? You know, or turn out your feet?" And they're turning their back and they're only kicking at you. Then, you know, I couldn't imagine it. And you'd feel like going into the computer and giving me a slap.
Slap. But do you not think that there's positives with it, in that you can focus the camera on their feet and then focus it on their upper body? And for drilling points of view, it's great, but traveling work, it's not so great, because they can't do much traveling when they're locked within a screen. But it's very good for focusing on feet and focusing on carriage and focusing on footwork. Do you think that it has advantages in that way?
Oh, it has advantages for anybody who can do it, who can use it. But technology and me, we don't go together, I'm afraid. I haven't a clue. Well, I couldn't see the letters anyhow. I can't see the letters now on there. I can see far away, but I can't see up close.
And will you have 10/10 vision? Will you have perfect vision now after this, or will you still
No, I'll tell you now. Just before I had the operation, if I was washing something in the sink, it would be like as if there was a worm coming up. The water was coming up and nearly hitting me in the face. I thought that's what it looked like. It was like a snake that was coming up in water. and it was so I had to get it. I had to get that done.
That must have been frightening, Jimmy.
Huh?
That must
Yeah,
have
it was no, it wasn't frightening because I know the water wasn't coming up. I knew it wasn't going to hit me in the face, and I didn't put my finger in to see, But it was a strange feeling, all right, and my coordination was slightly gone off a bit, because of it,
Yeah.
you know. So even if I look down at the chair now, the chair was like lopsided, that I'd slide off the chair if I sat down, even though the chair wasn't lopsided at all.
Balance, your equilibrium was gone.
Yes, and yet when I look far away, I could see everything far away.
Yeah.
There was nothing distorted, but it was distorted up close,
Yeah.
So,
but what do you think of, I mean, we were talking before we started about the open platforms and that. It seemed like I'm pushing for it, but it's not that. It's an interesting question that posed by Niall O'Leary on Facebook about open platforms. And I was thinking, there's fors and against. I mean, Jesus, a world championship with combined world, say, COGAL and Commission would be just a nightmare. It would go on for weeks. But do you think, like me, we're all Irish dancing? We're all we're all trying to promote Irish dance?
Yes, well, I can't. I never understood the fact of the split. When I was in teaching, when that split happened, I no knowledge of a split at all within Commission. But I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine anyhow changing. Well, I'm too old now, anyhow. But I couldn't imagine changing from Commission anyhow.
Oh, I'd never change from Commission.
No,
but
I would never change. I would never. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would never change. But
I
I think, why don't they come close together? I think we should all be the one, really,
Yeah, there should, there's an argument that there's room for open platforms, particularly where there's small schools, maybe one. I mean, there's certain places in America there's only one COGAL and one Commission school in the area. I mean, it just kind of makes sense that in order for children to get a chance to compete, that that the ability is there for them to compete with other schools in dancing, irrespective of what, I suppose, the organization they belong. We're all in it to promote the culture, and into the culture of Irish dancing. I'm just interested in what.
Of course. Well, I think that happens now in call to specials, that everybody can compete. There's no such thing as it's just commissioned dancers,
Yeah.
And in the COGAL feshes, we'd have a few around here now, COGAL, and not COGAL feshes. What am I saying?
Commission.
Cultus. Cultus feshes, yeah. You'd have a few cultus feshes, and sure, anybody can compete in them. And I suppose the standard has gone so high in Commission. It's gone very high.
It's just magnificent.
It's magnificent. It is, yeah. And we have, it has progressed, and everything has to progress. If it doesn't progress, it dies.
Yeah.
And everything has to progress. I know, and but you should always remember where you came from to see where you're going.
Oh, that's so true, Jimmy. I always say that if you don't have an eye glanced backwards, you can't move forward. You're just going to keep repeating the same mistakes, or you're not going to learn from the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you think of the dancing now? I mean, apart from it being magnificent, do you think that it's going in the right direction, that progression, or do you crave a lot more of the traditional? Do you think that there should be more emphasis on a traditional set being more emphasized in dancing?
Well, if you learn, I'll tell you now, if you learn tradition, if you learn the traditional style of dancing, it's a lot easier to do the modern style then.
That's why I asked that. Yeah,
It's a lot easier because if you learn it's like anything else. If you learn the basics properly,
good basics.
you'll have no trouble then with the moving on.
Yeah,
It's so important. I judged the fish there, and I won't say where. I judged the fish there a number of years ago, and I couldn't believe the standard was. It wasn't in Ireland, and I won't say where it was, but the standard was so bad in the Bungrods. And then it went on to the Open. I judged the Open as well, and the standard was so high. I said, they're not teaching the Bungrods the basics properly. I felt
yeah,
they were doing is they were taking it. I felt they were taking a talented child out of and putting them into Open very quickly.
yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, I do. I do understand perfectly what you're saying.
I mean the standard of Bungrods and Toolsgrods and Mangrods in Munster
Oh,
is
you know,
outstanding.
that's what we were talking about the other day. That one thing that we really have in Munster is a ferociously high standard of graded dancers. I mean, the mini Munsters, the Munsters. You can see that the good basics have been carried through all, because there isn't that rush to getting a good child out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let them go through the grades and perfect what they're doing. It's not about how much you know. It's about doing it properly. What you do know.
Mm.
And it's the same. Excuse me.
No, you're okay.
It's the same with everything else. It's about perfecting what you know.
Yeah, because when you're judging, and you can see children, you can see how people could be dazzled with somebody who's doing all the tricks and flicks and clicks and everything, and you're looking there as somebody who's obsessed with good basics, and you can see the back leg turning in, or you can see the back leg not being brought up, or you can see the right foot slightly turning in, and you're saying, and it spoils it, because you're there looking at it from an all round, or you can see the shoulder move, and and that's, you don't want to ignore that, because the child is just doing all these amazing things with their feet.
Yeah.
But if they actually stayed still for 2 seconds, you'd see that they're doing so much traveling to cover up the fact that the basics are, the attention to detail and the basics mightn't be 100%.
A few years back there, I was teaching, and there was this child came in. There was a child came in to me. The mother arrived, and she wanted her child to be. That she was taught dancing, and she was very good at dancing. The mother was telling me that she was great at dancing, and she wanted her child to learn dancing. So I said, fine, and bring her along. Whatever day I was taking the beginners, and she brought her into me anyhow, and I told her how much it was, and she I caught her by the hand, and I started showing her how to do the 1, 2, 3s, walking the 1, 2, 3s. And I went over it a couple of times with her, and I said, watch the girls that can do the 1, 2, 3s now. Watch them, and if you keep looking, you'll keep learning. I emphasize that always, keep looking. And but she only gave me half the money. When the mother came, the mother gave her the money to give to me. She only gave me half the price that I said.
The mother did. Mother.
The mother gave the child the money to give to me, and she only gave me half the money of what I said. So she came back the next day anyhow, and
I'd never say anything. That's my worst nightmare because I'd be afraid. I'd be non-confrontational. I'd
so
say,
she came back the next day. I taught her dancing, and she gave me the money, and she still only gave me half the money. And I said, I said, it's not that much. I said, it's €7, I think, but it's €7. And she said, my mammy said, when I can do to music, you get the full amount. I turned on the music straight away. No, I said, do to music. And she jumped around. She didn't have the 1, 2, 3s. How could she have the 1, 2, 3s after 2 days? She jumped around and the legs were flying every place, and she was delighted she could do it. And I got my full money.
a Kerry solution to a Kerry problem.
Exactly.
Was she from Kerry?
Huh?
Was she from Kerry?
No, she wasn't. She learned dancing in Limerick. The mother learned dancing in Limerick.
Wait.
Because she wasn't going to pay the full amount until she was able to do it to music. So
that's just astonishing, Jimmy.
Isn't that amazing? You know, the way people can. But I remember I was dancing.
You wouldn't pay a babysitter that much.
Not at all. No.
Your child pay them a decent amount of money.
Yeah, but I when I was dancing, I went to Ballyhide Fesh. It was the Kingdom Cup, they called it, and I said I'd like to win that now before I finish up dancing, before I finish up competing. And there was this red-haired girl. She was a lovely dancer as well, and she was dancing with a different school. So no mothers that time never went to Feshes. None of the mothers went to Feshes. You were put into a bus and off you went, and the teacher looked after you for the day. And mind you, you looked after yourself really. But I went to the Fesh anyhow, and her father was at the Fesh, and he was up in the voter box, and he was shouting, 2-1 in the box, 2-1, 2-1 in the box. He was betting that his daughter would win. Just like a bookie, 2-1 in the box. But my uncle happened to be there because he was doing like on one side of the field you'd have a tug of war going on. Another side of the field you'd have music going on up on top of the platform. You'd have something else going on another side of the field. You could have racing and right in the middle of the field, then you'd have the dancing competition.
And he had bets on that his daughter was going to win.
Oh yeah.
And people were paying him money.
Oh yeah, you would bet. They were betting. But my uncle anyhow saw this going on, and he said he put money. I don't know how much he put on him, and it was Rory O'Connor that was judging.
Rory.
Huh?
Rory O'Connor.
Do you ever hear of Rory O'Connor?
Yeah. He was one of the first to dance on. He was the first to dance on TV, on radio. Was
he?
Yeah.
All right. Oh yes, I heard. I heard that on the radio. All right.
On radio.
Yes, that's right. So I won the cup anyhow. I won the cup. I was hoisted up on my uncle's shoulders, brought down to the pub. I was sent around the pub, and they were dropping money into the cup. I got a bottle of lemonade off my uncle, and my uncle came home flutered from Ballyhide. Yeah.
I never heard of anyone betting on a competition before.
Oh yeah. 2-1 in the box. The father was out.
And you beat the fox.
Huh?
You beat
And I
the
beat the
fox.
fox. I won that day. So it was lovely.
What's your favourite moment in Irish dancing ever? And I mean, you must have had so many to choose from. But what was your favourite?
So many.
What was your most,
I
what was
suppose,
most disappointing first? What was the moment that you thought, oh God, you know, that gut wrenching moment in dancing?
no, I can't remember anything that I was disappointed with. No,
You were happy
I
with it.
suppose. Uh, well, I suppose it was about river dance. I suppose the Eurovision Song Contest. I think I got a great kick out of the fact when I saw it on the Eurovision, and it got such a great applause and international acclaim. You know, I felt, yeah, these people, all those dancers, they're after putting Irish dancing on the map. You know, and it was a great feeling. You know, I got about it. But then the next day, I suppose the disappointment then was the next day you had people phoning up. You had people phoning up saying, "Oh, Irish dancing wasn't supposed to be sensual or sexy or anything like that," you know. And I felt like phoning in and saying, "Well, I always felt sensual, and I always felt
Sexy.
sexy when I danced, you know." Even though it wasn't probably I didn't actually phone up, but I always felt, you know, it was Irish dance. It was always any dance in any country it was about showing yourself off. It was about sensual. It was
It's
about
about telling a story,
sexual attraction.
a story to music, rather like just like a painter paints a picture and a writer puts it in words. The dancer tells the story with their feet.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But that was disappointing to hear people saying that. You know that it was always about attracting the opposite sex or maybe the same sex. I don't know. But it was always a way of showing off and attracting people's attention, you know, to yourself.
I mean, even peacocks do their own little dance when they're trying to
Yeah,
attract.
exactly. When they're trying to attract a mate, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But competition-wise, I suppose, when Danny was talking the other day, and he was talking about when at Belfast or Galway, when in Salt Hill, when he won the girls, the boys, and he won the team, the worlds. He thought, that's it now. I can give up now. I've made it. When did you feel that as a teacher you had finally succeeded? Now, it mightn't even be winning a world. It could be anything. At what stage did you feel this is it? This is my life. I'm hooked for the rest of my life in dancing. There is nothing else for me but dance.
well, when I became a teacher, there was always something to achieve. I always felt I had to. I always felt that I had to do the best of what I was doing, and I wanted to. I said I love to win a Munster, you know, and a Munster title, and I did win a Munster title, and then I said, well, I'd like to win an All Ireland now, you know, so I won an All Ireland, and then I'd love to win one World now before I go the road, and I won a World. And I figured, no, what do I have to achieve now? I'd like to do my adjudicators now. So I did my adjudicators.
How difficult was that exam, Jimmy, for you? Because we were only talking about it the other night. Well, I was talking about it to Terry and Philip, and also was I talking to Danny. no, I wasn't on. We're talking about it to Terry and Philip, how difficult it was. The Irish exam for me was the hard. I hated the thoughts of a maths exam because I thought I was surely going to fail it, but I didn't. Thank God. But
It
did
was,
you find the whole process difficult?
it was dreadful. It was anyone that says that's easy, that exam is easy, it's absolutely dreadful. No, I would know all the figures of every KD dance.
Yeah.
But to put them down on paper is a different story. I had to learn that book from cover to cover.
Yeah.
Every word. I just had to learn it off by heart. Because if I went to describe any figure of any dance, I would take maybe 3 pages before I could describe it. But when I learned it off from the book, I was able to describe it from the book. So but I had to learn off that book word by word. I couldn't have done that exam unless I did that.
Yeah.
No, the music was fine and everything else was grand, but the interview was dreadful altogether. It was like as if my opinion really didn't count. I found that awful difficult.
I found that part of it the worst. I found that part of it the worst.
Yeah, that was the hardest part of it, because I mean, you're looking at a dancer there, and you either they're not doing this right, or they're not doing that right, or they're not doing the other thing right, and
sometimes it's down to personal impression, because you could have 2 children both equal, but one child has a sense of style that oozes out of them and that attracts you or draws you in, and it's not something that you can often tell.
Yeah.
It's just you have 2 exceptional dancers together, but one of them does it for you.
Yeah.
And try and articulate that on paper.
Yeah.
Within
that part of it is very difficult. Anybody that tells me that found it very easy, it's not easy. You really have to work very hard before you go in and sit that exam.
I found the writing side of it grand. I mean,
I found that grand as well, because I learned it off word for word.
But it's just, I suppose you don't want to be impolite either to the examiners and say to them, this is my opinion. You're trying to be nice, and you're overthinking when you go into an interview, instead of thinking, well, my opinion is just as valid. But how do I say that without coming across as being either rude or arrogant?
Yeah, well, the advice I would give to anybody that's doing that interview, you go in, you sit down, and you tell them, I'm right and you're wrong. That's the advice I would give them. And your opinion is as good as theirs any day. Yeah,
I was way too polite. When I think back on it,
no, you can.
Yeah, the last time when I did it finally, and I got it. I just at that stage was just much calmer. I just needed to calm down.
Yes, yeah.
I just needed to accept that I knew just as much, about the children that were after being presented in front of me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, but you just go to pieces. But you got a heart attack around that time, didn't you?
I had before. Yeah. Well, yeah. I had. It wasn't a heart attack. I got stents. Yes. I did. I just had.
You ringing me and saying, "Should I go up?"
It was two days before I did the exam.
I know you rang me, and you were on your way up in the train, and I said, "Are you insane?"
Yeah, myself and George. No, we didn't go up by train. We drove up. I went up with yours. I went up with your stack.
And you rang me and you said, I'm going up to do the exam. I thought the man has lost it. There's something, the man has absolutely lost his.
I know I was grand as long as I had stints. I'm sure I was grand. I was fine then. The blockages were gone. And it was very funny. We had a great, we were laughed all the way up. We laughed while we were above. We laughed at everything we did. And we laughed all the way home. Myself and George Stack. We had but you have to laugh at yourself as well. And that's the.
Who was your first? Was it John Fitzgerald was your first All Ireland?
No, Patrick O'Mahony.
Patrick O'Mahony.
Patrick won. Well, yeah, he won the first All Ireland.
What was that feeling like, Jimmy?
It was great. It was nice. It was nice to win, but it was the kick I got of it, looking at him dance, because he's absolutely fabulous dancer.
Yeah, he was.
He's just amazing. And David was the first one to win the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the following year, John and David won. The two of them won.
Yeah.
Fabulous day, John
I
Fitz.
remember when John won it. It was probably, it was like a Munster match when he won it, because the whole of Munster was out in support that day. I don't know what it was. It was just, I suppose, it was almost like a Munster match.
Yeah.
A combined Cork, Kerry, Limerick, Tipperary hurling match that all the team was made up of players from all these counties. Yeah. Because everyone seemed happy that he won.
Yeah. And I mean, you have the Tomás O'Shea now. It's lovely to see Tomás winning an All Ireland medal in football.
Yes.
And he jumped up on the stage and he started dancing. Then
that's right.
I think he loves football. Tomás loves football, but I think his first love is Irish dance.
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
But when I saw him jumping up on the stage dancing.
Yeah. Lovely dancer as well, a real man dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all the boys, they were all real men dancers,
Yeah. What did you think? Did you watch David dancing on Britain's Got Talent?
I did.
Were you?
I didn't think they did David justice at all.
No.
No, I did.
Himself, they told him what to dance.
Yeah. Well, and he would have done a lot better if he had been in control himself. But I don't think he had the control,
Yeah.
Because I mean, what he's done on YouTube now, on Facebook at the moment, is absolutely outstanding.
Isn't it just breathtaking?
Absolutely.
You have to watch the interview I did with him, because
I must watch. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the interviews. I must look at them.
We played at the start where he danced in UL for the 100, the centenary of the 1916 or the independence, and they did from 1916 onwards rather than a tribute, and it was just spectacular to watch the progression from Sean-Nós all the way up, or from the early the early dancing to Sean-Nós, to modern dance, and to how the media has portrayed Irish dancing now, or how David would have brought it into the next stages. It was, and he's such a down-to-earth lad, Jimmy. You should be incredibly proud of him, because it's as much down to you as it is to David's mother, who was like his right arm, and his grandmother his left. Do you know?
Right.
It's just much down to you, because he learned everything from you.
Yeah. When but it's lovely. It's lovely now that you feel, as a teacher, you feel, well, I did something right, because they're all coming back to me now with their children and the grandchildren, So
Yeah.
it's you feel, well, I must have treated them all right, you know.
Yeah.
But
But but
yeah,
I think with you know, with David and the fact that he's dancing on this little piece of a wood, a small little piece of wood that's really traditional, and it's at its core it's Shanos, and at its core it's traditional Kerry dance,
yeah,
and 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 it must give you a sense of pride that you've brought him all the way across the dance scene, across the competition scene and the contemporary and the modern Irish dance. But at his very core, he's traditional, and he's
oh
managed
yes.
to fuse the two.
But you can see the tradition coming out in him,
Yes,
can't you?
at,
Yeah,
it's oozing, but it always did. The,
yeah,
the time he says was his worst world. He said to me his worst world was in Belfast that the year I judged, and you know, and I gave him first that year because, you know, you could see, you could see the traditional, you could see the base, everything was just the pure dancer. He just was, he was just so, he was everything that I thought that an Irish dancer should be. You know,
yes, yeah,
he has the ability to bring it to another level, but also staying true to the tradition.
yes, yeah, and that's so important as
It
well.
is, it's utterly important because you have to be able to read Irish dancing. I think you have to be able to see the contemporary, the modern, the progressive, but yet you've got to be able to read the the um, the traditional in there as well, the good basics, the good sense of the original, where it came from, the teacher it came from, the region it
Yes,
came from,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So where to now, Jimmy, from now on with dancing?
Where do I go from here? Is it? Ah, I'm going to keep on teaching. No, I have a lot of boys at the moment, and they're very talented, and they're doing very well.
David said you have two boys, two brothers.
I have two brothers, yeah, and lovely dancers, lovely. But I have more than them. I have younger lads as well. They're under 9, and they're doing very well. They're coming on great, and and getting better. But I need to see them now again. I started off a class. I started off a class now again, but I'm only taking 3, maybe 4, and especially if they're sort of going to each other's houses, you know, that's one little group then, and I'm taking another group then, and another 3 or 4. But I mean, that's take them for an hour and a half, for an hour, you know, small groups.
Yeah. And how
Uh,
do you find
that's
that, Jimmy? Do you like taking the small groups?
I like, and it's like manna from heaven having them inside the door now. If I had to keep them all day long, I would.
Ah, isn't that lovely?
I keep them all day long because I've been without them now for the last 4 months, you know, and it's just been a nightmare not to be able to go out, put on the music, and start teaching. You know, it was terrible. It was a terrible time for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you be? Are you? Do you prefer to teach the basics? Do you prefer to teach the younger children who come in with nothing as blank sheets and teach them, or do you like? Do you make up the steps? Do you like making up steps, or do you like drilling? Do you like working with beginners, or do you like working with champions, or
Well,
all?
well, the good thing about it is now, well, it's great. Like you can look at what they're doing now. I said, you can look at what they're doing now on what I saw it there of
YouTube.
created champions, and you
Oh
can
yeah,
see,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, that's a nice little trick. No, there, that, yeah, no, I don't like that little trick. No, but I do like that little trick, and I can focus in and pick it up. You know, or you know, I have young teachers now. There's Trina, and there's Miriam, uh, and the they're great, like at picking up stuff as well, you
Yeah,
know.
they're amazing. But they're very loyal girls as well.
You, so I've Kenneth and I've Trina and Miriam, and we get together and we'll say, well, I like that and I don't like this and I do like that, and no, so you know, it's great to be able to, and we'll get together now maybe very shortly in a couple of weeks' time again, and we'll put pieces together, you know, that we like.
They've been very loyal to you, Jimmy.
Oh, they're great. Oh, they're great. They're great to have them, you know. Anna's retired. My
Yeah,
fault.
in
If she
inverted
sees something
commas.
wrong, then she'll say, hey, I don't like that. Get back there and do that again.
Where did you meet Honor in the beginning?
I know I was all Honor was taught by Irene Gould as well.
Yeah.
You know, so she became a teacher, and Irene gave up, and I kept it going up to Honor then, you know. And
Honor always says I was younger than Jimmy, but I was his teacher.
no, she was older than me.
Was she?
Oh, she is, yeah. She's a few years older, isn't it?
Only a few years older. But I was younger.
Yeah. But her love for the same thing, like she has this love for Irish dance.
But she's a lady. Honor. She's so glamorous, isn't she?
Always was. Yeah, always was.
She's the lady of dance. She really is. Well, Jimmy Smith, you have been just a breath of fresh air.
Good.
And really and truly. I can just see that Irish dancing in Kerry is in really safe hands with Jimmy Smith. Do you think there's any of the dancers that you've taught that will actually go in and teach with you to move?
Well, I taught Trina and I taught Kenneth. And
great as well.
Honor taught Miriam, then she's out in Spall and Dingle, you know, so Honor taught her, and so they're all teaching.
And John Fitzgerald given up?
John, I don't know whether John has gone back to Dublin or not, because he worked in Dublin, in a hospital in Dublin. And I'm not sure. I don't think John will ever teach either. I don't know.
Such a pity, because he seemed to have had the personality to teach.
Well, David certainly won't teach anyhow.
No, he won't.
He told me that himself, he wouldn't.
He's too busy dancing.
Too busy dancing.
You know,
but you can see that he has a love for it, you know.
It comes from every pore in his body, and you can see that. You could always see that.
Yeah, and I'd say he'd be very good, John. David is very good now, I'd say, with people who can dance.
Yeah.
To explore the dance and be creative with them.
Yeah, and he's not arrogant. You know, those compilations he does, they're as much the other person as him. And they learn. He or she does what sends David something to do, and he learns it, and then vice versa. So it's it's amazing. But Jimmy Smith, you've been extraordinary, and now when you're up and running, you'll be seeing all too much with those.
Yeah. So thanks, Mary, for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you very much for coming on, be my guest.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see you once the lockdown ends.
And for anybody who listens to this anyhow, I'd like to hope that they're all well, that we all get over this COVID-19, and that we're all back teaching and at a fish again and enjoy our dance and our culture. And thank you, Kerry.
And I'm leaving that to you, Jimmy. Thank you. God bless.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Slán leat.
Slán.